It's good to see everybody made it back. Yeah, of course not. David, fire away. You get all clearance questions too today.
So I get 4 in a row right after.
Yeah.
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. It's when you look back at last night, just with the 2 comebacks in the fourth quarter, you getting your 170th win, the delay, all of the injuries and everything else you came up and the opponent. Is that one of the more memorable regular season games you think you've been a part of?
I mean, definitely on a number of fronts. So, I just think like anything, going into the game, we were watching the weather for the, last 3 days doing the wet ball drills. And so you're always hoping the storm's going to miss, but, then just the way it timed up. But I thought everybody just handled it so well. So there really was no, the locker room was fine and everything. We looked at, the coin toss. We discussed that. It was part of taking the ball because we wanted to get out there and get going and not knowing what the weather was going to be in the second half. So all those little things behind the scene. So those are the stuff that I know I always appreciate, just the way people handle the little things. And I think you clearly got to give a lot of credit to the crowd. I mean, it's to come back out, an hour and a half later or so, and that was like a 4 o'clock game or 7. I mean, just the atmosphere was incredible. I mean, the game operations. I think they got a new stereo system. DJ was spinning it just right for all the old timers. The music was good. No, I mean, it was a really cool night. So the players were commenting on it today that were in here. Just the energy, just in the building. So obviously the excellent football game. People, just the back and forth. I think it's definitely a game I know I would have enjoyed watching as a fan. So yeah, the whole night was awesome. I mean, it was just an incredible atmosphere, and and the weather, definitely it worked out because we didn't have any issues after that. So yeah, so many little things, and then just the game too. I mean, there's so many plays in that game. I mean, there's a number of plays. If one of those plays goes the other way, the outcome's different. For as great as Dak played, and all the somebody hit some big time throws. With the biggest play in my opinion that he made in the game was the fumble recovery. So those are the things you remember about these games, and that's what the NFL is. And that's what the Cowboys and the Steelers bring. It's going to be a game that's going to go down the wire, and had a lot of excitement to it. So yeah, definitely very memorable.
Dak was saying too just how meaningful it was to be able to go with you over to your house and the other quarterbacks and see that. Did you actually take them on a tour? Was it just, hey, let's?
No, it wasn't planned. No, the personal part of it's always fun to reflect on at the end. But yeah, I mean, I had plans to go see my family, and then he had called the phone and text, hey, give me a call. So naturally, I'm thinking something's wrong at the hotel. So and he said, hey, look at your phone. And then there's a couple pictures of him and the quarterbacks and the coaches there at the bar. And I was like, oh my God. So I said, well, hell, if you guys want to swing by, swing on by, because they obviously weren't very far away. So yeah, some things that are not planned usually turn out to be a good time. So and then so we actually just drove back to the hotel together, but we took the scenic route, the great neighborhood of Greenfield. So they got to hear a few stories on the way home. So.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. What time did you guys get home? Did you go to your house? Did you just come here? How did you push the schedule back?
We pushed everything back an hour. We were supposed to start at 11, so we just started at noon. So everybody just went and got home. Got 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and all the players came in to get their lift in. So everybody's checked in, and it just stopped at training room. So the first evaluation process has been completed. So but yeah, we just coaching wise, we moved right on to Detroit. So we watched the game. We tried to grade as much as we could on the plane ride home, but we had to get right onto the Lions today. So that's what's going on right now.
And with Nealand, do you know when he will have the scope?
Don't have a total timeline, but yes, he's scheduled for a procedure tomorrow. Is the is the initial plan. So we'll see how that goes.
Do you need to go find some defensive ends? Seems like that's your position that's getting hit pretty good.
Just came from the training room, Todd. So one step at a time. Yeah.
Saad,
He's The Athletic. Mike, you spoke about it a little bit yesterday, but just getting the game ball in that moment, did you see it coming at all? How did it feel? What were your emotions when Dak kind of mentioned it?
No, like I said, yeah. I mean, that's something that'll always be special, without a doubt. But no, to be honest with you, the first thing I looked at was the clock when I walked in there, and I said something to Zach. He goes, "Yep, it's 1:15." So I mean, that's kind of where my mind was at, because it's you worry about night games. It's because so much about those wins, you don't want it, or even if it didn't go that way, just the travel's a big part of this. Just the planning of getting back and so forth. So that's really, frankly, was where my head was at.
Rico with his game, the way that he had, do you feel like this is something that he can carry forward as maybe the bell cow of the committee or something, or how do you look at his performance?
Yeah, I thought Rico played well. Obviously, we felt good about the way he was running the ball, and I think the carries reflected that. So, you got to play the game. Play the game. I think the most important thing is, just the way we lined up him and Zeke and the way we practiced throughout the week. Because as a play caller, if you want to be a multiple personnel, substitution team and play at a high pace, you don't want to have every personnel group have the certain back into it. That's when it gets. And the same thing with receivers, because you think the more that you do, whether it's personnel or scheme, but the more that you do, the more tendencies you create. So, and that's very, very evident, and it has been in my time in this league. So it's something I'm very cognizant of. So the ability to just play in, whether it's by down and distance or by quarter and things like that. That's part of the rotation we're trying to get into. But I think the biggest thing too is I thought yesterday was our best game as a football team of complementary football. When the offense has the ball longer than the defense, that's a good thing, because then the defense on the field less time than we are. So we were up above 70 plays. We got a number of trips to a plate that were important. Where the ball was distributed properly. So those are the things that were very important every week, let alone playing against Pittsburgh. So accomplishing that in running the football is a big part of that.
Scott.
I'm Skyler Dixon with the AP. It's kind of been trending in Rico's direction in terms of the number of touches, et cetera, for the last couple of weeks. Did you sense that might be how it went when the season started, with how the run game developed and the carries, or has it surprised you at all the way that it's kind of played out over 5 weeks?
I mean, just as far as Rico specifically, nothing surprises me with him. I mean, he's always been an ascending player. I mean, if you go back through his career here, I mean, he really was just bad on injuries early. But you got to remember, one of the first times he got into a game, he returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So I mean, I've always been impressed with Rico's production, based off of his opportunities. So his biggest challenge has just been staying healthy. So I think you're seeing, very bright, has a high understanding of everything that we're asking him to do. It runs hard. So if anything, he just needs to maybe slow down in certain areas, and that comes with experience. So, and Zeke has been really good for him, because Zeke has all that experience. Zeke's been that guy that's carried the load and so forth. So that's a very healthy combination for us.
Speaking of Zeke and being good for him, he's obviously been that guy, and his carries have gone down. What have you seen from him as the opportunities have diminished, but his attitude and the way that he's approached things?
I think we're seeing the best of Zeke. I know in my time with him, he's a great teammate. He's probably one of the most popular players in the locker room. He brings great energy, each and every day. And I think the last 2 weeks, just as far as practice, and sometimes practices, the games don't reflect on, what's going on in practice. But I think he's practiced as well as I've ever seen him.
Joe.
Joe White, All City Dallas. We've talked before about Jaylen Tolbert's preparation and his note-taking. In a game like that where he has to, step up a little bit for Brandon Cooks, how does that preparation and note-taking really kind of translate to itself?
Well, you're just seeing it pay off, and it's I know it has to be personally very rewarding for him. I'm proud of him, and because no one deserves it more than he does. He's put the time in, he's put the energy in. Obviously, the way the game went, they clouded. They gave CD a ton of attention yesterday. So, there's opportunities for others, and he definitely took advantage of it.
Babe.
Babe Loffmer, 105.3, The Fan. You talked about Dak not caring who's there, just going to turn it loose. But you, as a play caller, you get into that final drive, and I think 5 different guys touch the ball, not including Dak, of course. But 3rd and 7, Ferguson picks up your first down, breaks a tackle, all that. You throw a screen to your fullback. So I guess how gratifying is that for you, that it's not just, boy, if we don't get the ball to this one guy, we're screwed?
It's the preference. I'm at my best as a play caller when I'm attacking the defense and when I'm seeing from them. You're trying to set up. You're trying to set a course. Every time the defense has the ball, I'm trying to chart a course for the next series. Anticipating on what that situation is going to be, and frankly, the way that drive was going, the Pittsburgh's offensive drive beforehand, and my whole thought was, hey, I'm going to take it nice and slow all the way down the field, be patient, keep him in clean plays. There's things that we were communicating that we felt that we could do, particularly in the run game. So we had a lot of clean looks running the ball. I thought the offensive line did an excellent job there. Rico ran hard. I was looking for the right spot to throw the screen. It came a little later than I initially anticipated. And that was well blocked, and Hunter had a chance to almost put that in. So. Yeah, so that's when you're at your best, when you're not worried about other things and you're just clearly in a rhythm, and you're keeping your quarterback, most importantly, in a rhythm and clean plays. And because it's just like anything, when you're throwing to your primary receiver more times than not, then you're doing what you want to do. So, and I felt that drive reflected that.
Go ahead.
Mike, Ed Warder, WFAA. You mentioned the injuries on the offensive line. How did you feel about that configuration and Tyler moving outside for the first time since he was a rookie?
Can't give enough respect for Tyler Smith for just to jump out there and to play the way he did. Their edge pieces are, that's probably the best part of their team, frankly, in my opinion. T.J. Watt, just watching it with the quarterbacks, it's not only is he a great player, he's that way every play. I mean, his consistency, just with his get off. I mean, the way he gets off on the snap of the ball. I think to play that guy on AstroTurf every week would be scarier. But so I just, I felt really good about what Tyler did outside, and then Cam Hayward's that's a tough matchup too for TJ and Brock. Those guys got in there. So I love the way our guys battled, and they kept me in a 50-50 mindset, which is important. So I felt like I wasn't able to throw the ball, and that just going back to Babe's question. When I can play in a rhythm and keep the quarterback in a rhythm, it's a big part of that offensive line, and they gave us that opportunity last night.
Brad,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Ed.
Defensively, as far as injuries, where's Micah and sort of what's the plan for him this week?
He was in for treatment, so I'll probably I'll have a better gauge of that Wednesday if he has a chance for Detroit. But he's got some work to do. Saw him Saturday before we left, but we knew this week was going to be a stretch, so we'll have a better gauge once we get to Wednesday.
Brad.
Mike Bradsham, 105.3 The Fan. Big picture, your experience, what does a win like that under all of the circumstances possibly do for your team going forward?
Gives us confidence, but other than that, confidence to have a great week of preparation, and we've got to be better. I mean, we're not ignorant. We're not sweeping anything on the rug. We have work to do. Those penalties are a problem, and we need to be better there. So we'll spend some time on corrections with Pittsburgh. That's already blocked into the Wednesday schedule because we got to keep cleaning our own house. That's just the way we look at it, and that's important, particularly where they're happening. Just offensively, the red zone. The red zone penalties are that's been a little bit of a crutch for us here the last couple of weeks. So we need to get that cleaned up.
Joe.
Joe Tragan at WFAA TV. Coach, back on the Micah front, does a win like that yesterday allow the organization to be as conservative as they possibly can when they make the decision with Micah coming back? And then secondly, can you give your outlook on Kalen Carson and how you think he'll look this week?
Yeah, I mean, Micah, I just think like anything, conservative, that's very fair. I just think we have to be smart there, and that's where, not number one the player, because he obviously has a treatment from our medical staff, but also what they do away from here. So just make sure we're coordinated. And at the end of the day, you don't want to put anybody out there that's not ready to play. And then we also know what's in front of us too. We have a bye week, so it'll clearly be on where he is. I don't think you make exceptions for that, especially in week 6. So so we'll handle that like we always do. So Caitlin's just he's close. He was close this week. So Wednesday's practice won't be a huge indicator because we won't do as much, but we should know by Thursday. So.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, what is the status of Tyler Guyton after last night, and how comfortable are you with last night's offensive line configuration if it needs to be that way?
Well, definitely. I mean, yeah, that's why we got a group that we've been working with now. We got young guys that have to step up. We started 2 rookies, but we got other young guys too. I thought TJ did a nice job with his opportunities. Had some big challenges, but we got Wally. We got other guys that may have to jump in here, but they're ready. So they've all been practicing well. Once again, I think when you have injuries, and I'm not, I understand why you ask the questions, but every timeline is not set in the first 24 hours. That's the norm. Is it takes 48 to 72 hours to kind of get this thing figured out. So, and then once you get out to practice, so our practice will be an hour and 5 minutes Wednesday as opposed to 1:40. So, we'll get the information we need. But at the end of the day, we're about the Lions right now. So, that page has been turned, and this is what Monday is. So that's where we're. We got a big challenge. We got to win a home game. We used to be pretty good at home. So we got to win a home game. We've been really stressing the importance of winning on the road, and we're off to a good start. But we need to get our first home win.
Aaron.
Aaron Cousins, Lone Star. Sorry, another injury type thing. We haven't talked to you, I don't think, since Brandon Cooks went on IR. Was that something that maybe got worse? And I know you don't want to speak too specifically about it, but does that? Would you just chalk that up to a fluke?
No, I think that's a perfect example of what I just said. I mean, timelines don't. You have to get all the information. So every injury is different. Circumstances like his are sometimes different. So you have to get all the information and make a sound decision. That's why I do. I don't like talking about the specifics of their injuries because, frankly, I think that's their responsibility and their right to talk about the specifics of their body. But you have to wait to get all the information. That's a perfect example of why we waited and then made the decision as late as we did.
And then are you comfortable with that kind of how Flournoy looked and his
stuff? I'm happy to see the young man get an opportunity. So I haven't watched the special teams yet, so I want to see how he did there. But he's been working towards this. He's ready. He's ready to get a little more opportunities as we move forward.
Todd.
I know you said you're on to all about the Lions and things, but do you ever take a big picture view of the schedule and what lies ahead over this stretch of the teams that you guys are facing and the importance of what you're about to get into?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is to get this win and get to the bye week, and I do have a plan for the bye week based off what's coming off of that too. So, as far as cutting the season up, but yeah, it's 6 games in a bye week. This will be the first threshold that we need to get to.
And then Steele, how do you think he held up against Watt?
Well, I think just like anything with playing against TJ, it's you're trying to limit him. I don't think it's practical to shut down a player, particularly where he plays in that defense. So like when he moved, he then lined up the second play of the game. I thought, okay, now this is going to be the game. They're going to move him all over the place. So, and I was happy to see him back where he belongs. But I thought Terrence played well. I mean, that's an all day, every snap, challenge, and I thought Terrence met the challenge.
Mike, obviously we don't know who's culpable on certain plays, but like Dak's first interception. But when you look at those turnovers, the 2 interceptions and the fumble, how do you see Dak going about correcting those things, and what's his approach to his own evaluation?
I had a chance to watch it with him earlier. So obviously the ball security on the sack is something we covered there. And and then the first one, I've already talked about. We thought we had them in a transition situation there, and decision. But the last one, we're taking a shot there, and they were clouding the CD all day, so we were trying to get CD down the middle there, and he just trusted his feet, and I thought, when the ball came out of his hand, I thought he gave JT a good high angle ball, and and JT didn't win the contest at the breaking point there, so that to me I would classify that as a competitive interception. I'm okay with those because. JT, he earned that right for that shot, so, I mean, you have to give your young players, we talk about giving Brandon opportunities as a young kicker. It's no different for a receiver to get that play. I mean, that's a play as a receiver that you get excited when that's called, because you've earned that opportunity to run that, that bang post there and go get that, that opportunity. So you have to throw them. You got to throw them on time like he did, but we got to go get that football. So. But yeah, so you can't turn it over. He knows that more than anybody. I mean, that's a real credit to our football team. You talk about complimentary football, and how many times you lose the turnover ratio like we did, like down 3 like that, and win the game. So that's a huge credit to the fight and the resiliency of our football team.
Yeah, Mike, with all the injuries you've had on defense and more last night, were there a couple of guys who got a lot more opportunities to play, a lot more snaps than the usual, stood out to you? I
mean, just look the way we lined them up, 6 linebackers. So all the special teams work that they played, and just having the 8 defensive linemen, so the rotation there. T. Wheat, was good to see him get out there and play and have some opportunities. Really just for as limited as Marshawn played before his injury, I thought he was off to a good start. So I had a chance to see some. But yeah, all those guys flashed. Yeah, so. We just need to stay healthy, stay the course. Our young players are going to keep rising, and we're going to continue to get better.
All righty, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.